buttons you gotta push. All right. Excuse me. let me get the I guess we better do our raspberry beret.
There you go.
Well, excuse me. Morning, sir. How are you?
Well, you know, the time has taken over Paisley Park.
Yeah. No, here. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. What did Prince do this week? Let's just get it started with a musical selection, shall we?
They tried to take advantage of her.
Baby doll house.
All right. And as we play some music, let's welcome everybody here in the chat. Who was first? Boombox Guru. What up, Purple Fan? Right. What up? What up, dog? We see you, Grant. Music too loud. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you good? You good on my end? What about y'all in the chat?
And of course, the great Anna B. All right. Well, we got Monty here. He's like, PSA difference. If you're using your phone to watch us live, will you please exit out of the chat, hit the thumbs up button, and then hit the live chat, and you'll be right back in 2 seconds. Yes, please hit that like, share.
There you go.
What's the other one? Subscribe. Yeah.
To let that algorithm work for you.
Yes. LTKK, what's happening? 8133.
That's EA.
We see you. Drea, what's going on? Happy Saturday, Purple Fam. Missed y'all last week. So did I. Because my mom was in the hospital. Oh, man. Thankfully, she's been released and recovering now. All right, we're sending a prayer out to your moms for real.
Amen.
Glad she's back home. All right, what do we got here? He said, do you want to read a new chapter? Are you qualified to read one? Well, who can read out there? We're going to read a new chapter. And if I don't see everybody doing it, I don't want to see you no more.
There you go, LTKK. I love that. You got to drop that every Saturday now. That's got to be every Saturday for you.
We love it. Lori Johnson, what's going on? Raywin, what's up, Playboy? I see you. Raywin, what's happening, man? Thank you for the shout outs. And Ron K, good afternoon, Purple Fam. Yes, prayers and blessings to you and your mother, Drea. Absolutely. Oh boy, Blade Brown, what's going on? It's like that part right there. And also Chris Bornay, what's going on?
You can tell when you get somebody's favorite part, they get real quiet. You tell they that.
Right. It's like that part about the hit. Like, let me get out the way. All right, lady cab driver. Hell yeah. Baby doll house. Turn it up, goddammit. Release it. That's all we can say is release it. Manta Ray. We see you today. Purple cat confetti. Yes, Mr. Read It. Hold on. Stop the show. We want to say we love you. We miss you to D'Angela. She is out busy handling business today. But we want to make sure we acknowledge the queen. So hopefully she sees us if y'all here watching. I know she checked. I know, Mom, we doing it. We was on time.
Hey, she gonna come. Y'all wash them dishes. That kitchen better be clean when I get home.
We'd be like, you know how they have on the Michael, on the Michael thriller, on the Michael trailer when Joe got the round table and he's just, and we're gonna be the biggest in the damn. And then I might say something. Well, maybe we could do another top. I told you what to think. I'm just playing.
You know what? If I was on the fence about seeing the movie, I was gonna see it after that.
All right.
I told you what to think.
I told you what to think, boy. Oh, sorry, Joe. We're just playing. D'Angela's not like that. Read it. All right.
Yeah, so we sending out man love and wait for you to get back and promise you the kitchen will be clean when you get back.
Yes, we will.
Saying all the dishes gonna be put up, but the
all
kitchen
dishes.
Will
We'll fold the clothes and make
there you go. There you go.
Clothes and take the garbage out. I shouldn't have to tell you this. So you're all flashing back at me.
There you go.
All right.
And won't nobody be running out the back door when you pull up in the driveway, Mama. We promise. Won't nobody be running out the back door.
Wow. What's going on over there? Y'all was doing it like that. I ain't mad. Yeah, I didn't have the guts. Yeah, I didn't have the guts to pull something like that. Because you already know. All right. I got to catch up with the chat, man. Welcome. What's up to all y'all out there? I have to jump ahead. I'm sorry. But we see you out here. Celie, how you doing, sir? Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
There you go. Oh, man, bro. Like my granddaddy said, I'm vertical. When I'm vertical, I'm good. It's when I get horizontal, I worry about it. So every day is another day to be vertical. How about you, brother?
Man, I'm just happy to be alive. You know, we got a little, I don't know if you can't see it, but Seattle got some snow yesterday. So, you know, a little blanket, but it was enough to, you know, stay at home and just relax. So it's good.
What I'm having on is your incense. You got your incense smoldering back
there.
there.
Man. Yeah, there's this one I got from Amazon, and boy, just one of them burned like it. I mean, burn. It burned enough where it could set your alarm off, but it just soothes my soul. So
look here. Hey, Kim, I ain't gonna tell you about that time that my mama was coming home at 6 and I had forgot. So I put it in the microwave and tried to nuke it. Damn, it burnt the house down.
Right.
Look at she get home and you ain't thawed that meat out.
Put that in some hot water and put it in Tupperware bowl and put it. Better be thought out before I get home. We're exposing ourselves.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, here we go right here. Here's D'Angela. She's checking on y'all. I'm checking on you. Thanks for the salute. All right. Thank you. We love you. All right, man. Web Diva, good morning. Yes, I see today is Dorothy Parker. Yes. And she was a waitress on the promenade.
Dishwater blood?
Yes. Tall and fine. You know she got a lot of tips. God damn it. Boy, that's a cold song. Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah. I can't wait till we get to that one.
Yeah. All right. Man, let's get started, shall we? Let me share the screen properly. All right, let's get this thing underway. All the foolishness. So, what did Prince do this week? Week 11, 1986. Woo, 1986. It's 2026. But if you would have told me back in 1986, you can't, man. You know, 2026 is gonna be on some crazy. I'd be like, yeah, we're gonna be flying cars and stuff. No, you're gonna be on your phone. I'd be like, phone? What are you talking about? Never would have imagined.
That was gonna be that Jetsons.
Yeah. Never social media. Would have been like, what are you talking about? That sounds ridiculous. But here we are. All right. So yeah, man, 1986. We're going week to week, Sunday to Saturday of 1986, not date to date. What did Prince do this week? So here's the schedule. Week 11. This is March 10th through Saturday, March 15th. Of course, you can check out the bit.ly link there and the QR code to get locked in and clicked in. And what did Prince do this week? You don't need the paperback to participate, but you do need a book to at least look like you're smart. But you actually don't need either. You can just show up here Saturday unprepared and have a great time with your family, and we'll read it for you. But it's a good idea to support the book, and we salute to Dwayne for producing this great piece of literature here. All right. Animations. What did Prince do this week? These will also be archived at youtube.com/@polishedsolid, and of course at youtube.com/@md. There you go. And then we do have our hashtag WDPDTW. People still do hashtags and stuff. I'm not so up on it. Somebody says, "Where's D'Angela?" D'Angela's out handling her business today, but she is good. Yeah, she's in her skin. She's fine. She's taking a break, taking care of some stuff. What did Prince do this week? The estate of Prince Rogers Nelson is not affiliated, associated, or connected with the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series, nor has it endorsed or sponsored. And yada, yada, yada. Y'all already know this.
There you go.
What did Prince do this week? Of course, we have the community guidelines. We choose to be a community, even when we disagree. The invisible text that you can't see, it says, if you act up in here, you're going to be out of here.
There you go.
So just act like you got some sense.
And we'll add that, and I think most people do this, but if you're new to the space, understand that if somebody likes something that you don't like or dislike something you like, it is not a statement on you. Like Prince put out over 40-something albums. He worked over 60-something projects. So there's no way we all gonna love everything. So we have to know that just because I might not like a particular song doesn't mean I'm saying I don't like you or like your taste. That just means that particular song is just not my taste. So we have to be able to keep that in mind that everybody's not gonna dig everything we dig. And I, this brother thing, I'm always even with my wife, I'll find things that she like or don't like, or like, I'll be like, really? Like, and my wife, she'll always say, she said, driving with my husband is not a problem, but I just know if it ain't funk, it's gonna be that damn rock and roll and blues. So
hilarious
with the funk. But when I get something, look at, I put on Sunday rock and roll, and she give me that sister look. She give me that's what we gonna drive to today.
And plus you're locked in. It's not like you can't back out the deal.
There you go.
You're gonna like it. You gotta love it. No, but you're right. Yeah, it's interesting. Deviate for a quick second. I peek on Twitter. I'm not a heavy Twitter user, but man, I see a lot of conversation about, and it's interesting. It's the ongoing battle between MJ, Prince, and I think there's a video that just came as an AI video, rather well done. I mean, you just get so surprised with the quality of this stuff, but they don't, they clowning Prince in the video. To be very clear.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's still funny, but they got jokes. I mean, they got jokes to everybody. But I guess my point is to say, even when we see stuff like that, we don't have to get so bent out of shape about it. Like
exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like the music is still gonna be the music you love, regardless if some unknown person online doesn't like it. It's gonna be all right.
There you go.
All right. Okay, so let's get into the show, shall we? What we just heard at the beginning was 11 by the great Madhouse.
And I'm still getting used to seeing that bank back there on that picture, because I didn't see that bank all them years. So thank y'all for letting me bank on there.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Funny what we noticed. Some of the players on there, of course, Eric Leeds, Prince, Sheila E., Levi, Caesar Jr., Susanna Melville, that's her voice sample, Dr. Fink, and then a gentleman by my man from The Godfather, the sample on there. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. It's always funny, like you watch The Godfather, and for me, I didn't see The Godfather necessarily in real time. I saw it years later, but then watching it after you like immersed yourself in some Prince music, like Madhouse, all the little samples and stuff that you're pulling from that movie just jump out at you, and you just wait for the music to kick in the movie, thinking the music's about to start in the movie. It's like, no, wait, that's Prince's stuff.
Right. So yeah. I'm not gonna lose my black card, but I'm about to lose my American culture card.
Please don't tell me you've never seen Godfather.
Not only have I never seen The Godfather, wow, I've also never seen Scarface.
Really?
When I was a child, so my father, look, this is what you understand how uber super black my father was in the movement. He wouldn't let me watch Godfather because in real life, Their policy was, don't sell it in our neighborhood, sell it to the N-words.
Yeah. Well,
my father was like, why are Black people supporting and watching the films of people who dumped poison in our neighborhood? Now, I want to be clear. That's a different statement than saying whether the art is well crafted. So I won't as an artist myself, as a person who loves art, I've seen enough and heard people say enough that I know that that is one of the greatest movies ever made. Even Scott. So I want to be clear. So my not having seen it doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the movie, but just that's kind of my message style was it. But just kind of like how you were like, and what's that? AJ 1328, and you know what? There, and I'll give you one other movie, so we'll move on, and it's gonna blow the chat up. I'm gonna give you a movie, Brother Dean, by actor that I love. I'm gonna say this again. I love this actor, and there are two of his movies I've never seen, and they are one of them.
Denzel?
No.
Oh.
But the two of his movies that I've never seen, and one of them is similar to his career as an actor. And I love this actor. I've never seen Pirates of the Caribbean.
I've never seen it.
And I've never seen The Lone Ranger. Reason I've never
I'm right there with you.
Right. But the reason I've never seen Pirates of the Caribbean is because I tell people, go look at the real history of piracy and pirates and see if it's something we want to make fun of. So I was never cool with us talking about pirates and so I've never seen that. And the reason I never saw The Lone Ranger was because I just wasn't cool with a non-Native American playing Tonto. Now, I can say that and still say Johnny Depp is a fire actor. I would say I have Johnny Depp in top 2 of my favorite character actors. And my other character actor, I always forget the brother's name. He was Mouse in shoot. He was in what's my brother's name?
We're getting deep into the movie weeds here. So
what's with Rwanda Hotel? He was in Rwanda Hotel. He played Miles Davis.
Cheeto?
Yeah, Don Cheeto. Thank y'all, Don Cheeto. So
Lord.
Right.
Go ahead. So wait. Go ahead and give me the card up. Let me see that card.
Yeah, I know, right. No. But I have Don Cheeto and Johnny Depp as my 2 favorite character actors, not leading men, but I have them as my 2 favorite character actors. So I want to be clear when I say this. I want everybody to know this not me hating on, appreciate you. This is not me hating on Johnny Depp at all. Johnny Depp is one of the finest actors America has produced. I just couldn't rock them 2 films. All right, so let's get back to
I was like, because we Johnny Depp.
Look at Kim.
I don't know. Kim is like, this is why you'll never let these. But we have a special guest here, and I appreciate him waiting in the wings. But we got that out of the way, sir. Welcome.
Oh, yes. You on mute?
You're on mute, sir.
You on mute?
Or don't need to
Which is exactly what my problem was when I was saying Don Cheeto.
It made me turn it down just a little. You came in hot.
See, man, I saw.
We know who got that expensive equipment. He got that expensive equipment. He got that
came in hot.
How about now? Better? Better?
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, welcome, man.
Man, thanks for letting me in.
Oh, of course.
You got your own key. What you let you in? You know where the key hid. You know where the key hid under the pot.
Yes. All right, fella. Let's get it. All right. So episode 163, week 11. There were 4 studio sessions, 6 new songs. All right. And they're showing you love in the chat room there. Salute to author. March. All right. So absolutely week 9. We've got Visions, various other piano tracks, all by Lisa, which we'll talk about. Tuesday, Fun Love. these are songs I am not familiar with. And then, of course, the Ballad of Dorothy Parker, Witness for the Prosecution, Movie Star. And then we're jumping into some classic stuff. So let's just, man, I can't wait to get going. And we got some good people here today. So let's just jump right into the reading. We'll start with Visions, March 10th, 1986. Celie, would you like to start us off on this?
I sure will.
And I'm going to leave it to your discretion to read what you feel.
And always, I'm going to have to give him a little eyepiece.
Magnifying glass.
There you go. Monday, March 10th, 1986, Estimate Visions, tracking various other piano tracks. Galpin Blvd, home studio, Chanhassen, Minnesota. You know what? I always have to, whenever I see that, the first thing in my mind is like, I've been on that boulevard, right? You know, that's the one where people ride by the house. Producer Lisa Coleman, artist Lisa Coleman, engineer Susan Rogers. Lisa Coleman quote: Prince had been thinking of doing piano interludes or on a record. He had just got a new grand piano in his house. I played Visions once, and that's what that is. I haven't played it since. We were just testing out the setup. All right, let's get to the reading. No matter how talented Prince was, there were people who he depended on to bring him something that he might not otherwise hear, whether it was to inspire him or fill in space that he couldn't. He surrounded himself with people like Lisa, who he could rely on to surprise him, explains Peggy Leonard. Quote, I think Lisa complimented him. If he was stuck on something, she could pick up the riff and do it. And I know that he treated her differently. He respected her. It was more of an equality with her, end quote. This is Lisa talking, quote, working with Prince was so exciting because he did everything himself. He had a studio in his basement, and he even had me recording him on the drums or punching him in to play guitar parts, and it just became like a crayon in his box. It was something that you could just grab and use it the way you wanted to use. It was fantastic, and he even let me use the studio by myself once I learned all of this, how it was all hooked up, and he would just leave me in. I always get this. There we go.
Take your time, Pastor.
Hold on for a second. There we go. They're like, quote, go ahead and fool around. He would go and take a nap or something. Yes, he took naps, in the Lisa's quote. For this session, Prince asked Lisa and Susan Rogers to record some music on his new piano. Lisa said, quote, we were just testing out the gear. Susan recorded it and mic'd the piano. Prince wasn't there. He just asked us to do something. He said, make them 2.5-minute pieces. So I recorded a few, and that's what Visions is. Status. Visions, 2 minutes and 12 seconds, was recorded to be on the Dream Factory album. But after that album was canceled and repurposed, it was never issued by Prince. In 1990, when Wendy and Lisa included this composition, now renamed Minneapolis #1, as the first track on a limited edition bonus CD included with their third album, Erotica. Not Erotica.
Erotica.
There we go, Erotica. Along with 3 other piano instrumentals, possibly recorded at the same time, titled Minneapolis 2, Eric's Ghost, and See You. It was released on Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition in 2020. The final paragraph here. The date on this recording is unclear, and it is possible to have been tracked anytime in March or April 1986, but it is likely around this date, as they were setting up the piano in Prince's home while the band was rehearsing without Prince. And I'll add to that, I'm not online, but I had somebody send me the links. I think that on Instagram, Lisa has been doing like a lot of piano interludes and just playing piano, and it made me think about the whole Visions track. So if you guys are not subscribed, if you are online, and you should subscribe to Lisa's Instagram, because what I understand, she's doing a lot of like small piano interludes on her Instagram. So that's it.
I gotta check that out. Author, any thoughts on Visions?
You're muted.
You're muted. Sorry.
I'll get in sync. I'm trying a 1 coffee cup trial. It's It's a little rough. This song was released on an album that she put out a few years ago, 2020, 2019, called Collage. Might be on Bandcamp, and it's got a different title to it. I don't remember what the title of it, what she retitled it as. I first heard this on a compilation of Dream Factory, and there've been some. We need to get to Dorothy Parker, but just to say, we have been. There's an interesting debate about the concept of Dream Factory. If it was actually an album, if it was a collection of songs that, in the same vein as like junk music, right, where I'm putting things together, but I really don't have a framework for it just yet, And then, of course, almost all of those songs got parsed out, to pretty much Sign of the Times, but, also B-sides and the like. I don't remember what year I first heard this song, but of course, like anything else, I figured, oh man, Prince has range, but it really gave folks the opportunity to hear Lisa in her virtuosity. She's a beautiful pianist, and that doesn't come through completely. Certainly doesn't come through on the Prince albums, but it even doesn't come through completely on the Wendy and Lisa albums. You actually have to like see them to get what she's capable of. Lisa Coleman, man. She really was a weapon in the revolution, without a doubt.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting that for the piano and the microphone, the first two shows at Paisley, he takes the time to tell the story about when Lisa first joined the band, having her picked up at the airport, her coming to the house, him not thinking it wasn't going to work out because she was so shy, and then him hearing her play the piano, and then he says that that she put together chords the way his father put together chords. So to your point about her being a weapon and what she added, then we think about on the parade tour, those piano interludes that she would play doing that. So yeah, you're right that she doesn't get a lot. And I didn't think about it, I know people have different Wendy and Lisa albums. So, my favorite Wendy and Lisa album is Fruit at the Bottom. And like you said, you don't really hear her playing as much, but these kind of interludes really let us know that she was one of those ingredients that you may not have tasted.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't there, the dish wouldn't have tasted the same, if that makes sense.
Yeah, this Visions, I'm with you, Arthur. I think the first time I heard it, it was some Dream Factory boot that came out, and it was collected, and it was sort of like, this is what the album would be like. And I want to say that it started with Visions at the beginning.
Yeah, I think it did start with Visions.
And I remember listening to that for the first time. I was just like, at first I just couldn't understand, like, how did we not hear this before? Because it just sounded magical, but it was just something, it was a quality about it that it sounded exactly like that period, but a way deeper dive into sort of the nuance of that period. And if what I just said makes any sense to you, then
no, yeah.
And so just hearing, I was just like, God, this would have really, I'm like, yeah, this was an album. Again, whether or not it was intended to be an album like that or not, the way I heard it really just made it a package. I was like, God, this would have been incredible if it came out like this. And I could see the show starting with this, it would have been awesome. So yeah, Vision's a special piece of music. I'm glad they put it on the Sign of the Times special deluxe edition, because I didn't expect them to, and I had almost kind of forgot about it a little bit. Right. Kind of shifted to other songs. But this is awesome. And everything you guys said about Lisa is incredible. As I'm listening to it, and I always say this about stuff, but I could see it would be interesting to see their perspective dramatized, if you will, from her lens. Coming from the family that they come from, and then getting with, Prince early, and then bringing your girlfriend into it, and then you both are sort of phenomenal musicians against a guy who is known for funk and all this other stuff. Making how that melds together is pretty unique and dope. There's always a lot said about Lisa and Wendy, but
Yeah, and to your
deny.
point, right?
Can't
We
deny.
forget that they were in a, they were in a child band that made a record.
Yeah.
And Wendy's father was big in the industry. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like we were talking about, we were giving props to the Peterson family last week, right?
Mhm.
And I think the same could be of the Melvoin and Coleman family this week, that they were people who came from a rich musical family background, which allowed them to really supplement and bring so much into the camp.
Yes, indeed. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. Tuesday, March 11th. Tuesday, Fun Love. And I can read this one real quick here. All right. So Tuesday, tracking overdubs mix. Fun Love, tracking overdubs mix. Fun Love instrumental, probable mix. Sunset Sound Studio 3, 12 noon to 11:30 p.m. Book lock. Producers Prince, artist Prince, engineer Coke Johnson. We got a quote from Prince. Music is music. Ultimately, if it makes you feel cool, if it makes you feel good, cool. Wow. So music is music. Ultimately, if it makes you feel good, cool. Prince's mind was still very much on Under the Cherry Moon. So most of the music he was recording during this time was written for the film. For 10 hours, Prince worked on two new songs. Fun Love, a playful song that contains a mention of Mary Sharon, the lead character in the movie, and Tuesday, reportedly an instrumental that had likely gotten its title from the current day of the week. For the final 90 minutes of the session, mixes of the song and probably an instrumental version of Fun Love were created and recorded to cassette. 5 C60 and 2 C90 tapes were used, so it's also likely that Prince had Johnson make copies of an assembly of a larger collection as well, perhaps Jill Jones' album, but it is unknown what those other cassettes contained. Prince continued to check in on the editing of his movie, but he, but he also had obligations in Minneapolis, so he flew home to rehearse with the band and record on a new console Susan Rogers was installing in his Galpin Boulevard home studio. Wow. Mm-hmm. Status, Fun Love, and Tuesday, both, let me start over. Fun Love and Tuesday would both be revisited later in the month. They remain unreleased during Prince's lifetime. And just quick to say, on the Prince Parade or Prince and Revolution Parade special edition package that I know y'all better be working on, please. It's like it's absurd that they're not putting that out, right? So I assume these songs would be on there. It would be great, but whatever, I know y'all got something coming because if they don't come out, what my man Pac said, best believe we right. Yeah. But anyway, any quick thoughts on Tuesday and Fun Love?
So I haven't heard Tuesday. I've heard a very bad boot of Fun Love, and it interestingly to me, now this is keeping it as a very bad boot. It sounded like a precursor to Dorothy Parker.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of R&B-ish, for lack of a better term. And I'll just say this now, and I'm going to say something that I don't mean what I'm about to say literally. So I want everybody to understand, I don't mean this literally because of how titles are. But I've always said that if there's one song that we say created something, Dorothy Parker created Neo Soul. Now, we know that the term Neo Soul was created by an executive because they wanted to separate what the quote Neo Soul artist was doing from traditional R&B and that whole thing. So we understand that. But if you're just talking about the groove, the sound, I've always said that because Dorothy Parker, there was nothing that had sounded like Dorothy Parker. So I'm just saying that for me, the first time that I heard this Fun Love, it sounded like it's in the same pocket or groove as Dorothy Parker. But again, it's a terrible bootleg. And I've seen a couple of people put it on YouTube, and it's just as bad. Usually when they get to YouTube, they clean it up, and it's a little bit. It's still terrible. But anybody else, I don't know if you guys have heard it at all.
I don't think I've heard that one. No.
I don't think so either. You know,
I definitely want to. I definitely want to hear the one talking about Mary Sharon. Like,
Right.
that's what I say. It's gonna be on the special edition, so I'm not tripping. You know.
Right. What could go wrong?
All right. Can we go in now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm ready for one of the main courses right here, and this is Thursday, March 13th. Author, you mind? You want to take us into Ballad of Dorothy Parker?
Be honored to. The Ballad of Dorothy Parker, tracking overdubs and mix.
And just so you know, Brother Arthur, it's it's 2.5 pages long. So read what you want and what you don't want to read. Or if you want to read the whole thing, that too. Just give me a heads up. It's 2.5 pages long.
Yeah, you can tag us in if you want.
I love how the song has like a backstory. There's like a whole legend to it, and it's like drama. There's a thriller element to it. There's like a life and death element to the climax, and then there's a resolution. The Ballad of Dorothy Parker, recorded at the Galpin home studio in Chanhassen, Minnesota, produced by artist Prince, engineer Susan Rogers. There are no accidents, and if there are, it's up to us to look at them as something else. Quoted to Prince, attributed to Prince. After months of preparation, Prince's new home studio was ready to go, and according to Susan Rogers, Prince was excited and couldn't wait to take it for a test drive. God, he was happy when that studio came online. He had waited so long for that console, and the house was nice, so we got a lot of work done there. The console was the same as the one he loved at Sunset Sound. That he could make recordings there that were near that same quality at home meant a great deal to him.
Can we just stop right there for a quick second? I mean, just that alone, you know, the idea that you have studio quality, the actual same type of consoles, and you have it in your own facility, in your house or whatever, and it's yours. That was such a big deal. I can only imagine what that must have felt like from where he came from, and to be able to, like, I don't have to go to the studio. I have my own. Yeah. If you think back in the early days when cats used to do music, when I got my SB1200 or I got my it was such a big deal. So imagine it wasn't just a piece of equipment. He had the damn studio with the engineer right there. I mean, he was probably like a kid on Christmas when that little box. Mom, is that the PS5 in there? You know, they were just. I mean, I can only imagine what he must have felt like. I just wanted to add.
Well, no, you're right. I mean, it's probably lost on us because all three of us right now, you know, we're communicating over video with you know, professional quality microphones. For the most part, Mike's is certainly nicer than mine. Aside from all of that, a lot of artists in the 70s and the 80s, you know, they had like 4-track boards, or they had 16 tracks at the most, you know, and they would record demos, and then they would, you know, finish them off, you know, at some studio and everything. I mean, Prince's unfair advantage, as he, just like what Mike was talking about, he had the works in the building, in his basement, and he could just roll down the stairs and pull up, and then, you know, record albums, and not necessarily demos. They, you know, they like finished and done. That's an unfair advantage for the ages.
You know, I never thought about it like that, but it is as simple as that. That would separate him from a lot of people, let alone the talent and the drive that he has, but the fact that he can I can go downstairs and noodle on some shit, nigga, and it could be ready to go on to the people if I want it to be. Like most people just don't have. You didn't have the ability to do that. You would maybe practice at home and then book into the studio, but you're under the gun to perform in that allotment of time you're paying for. So it sort of produces different material, whereas he doesn't have to give a damn. I can play all night. What, you sleep? Get another engine. You know,
so. And even more so, it's like, I mean, Prince was paid, but so were a lot of these other artists that he was competing with. But they didn't sit at their homes like this, you know, and have an on-call engineer that, you know, that they stressing out like poor Susan, as we're about to find out in this story. Continuing with Susan, Dr. Rogers, to give respect, now that a state-of-the-art studio was 20 feet from his room, he could literally roll out of bed, plug in, and record his dreams. And that is exactly what he did, as he had done in the past with tracks like Manic Monday. Prince composed the song in his sleep, and once again it was about a working woman, but on this number she was a waitress who enticed him to join her in the bathtub. As soon as he woke up, Prince wanted to get the music to tape immediately, so he quickly scratched out the lyrics to the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. Susan Rogers recalled. Prince's methods on days like this. We're gonna get in sync, Mike.
No, you're good.
Susan Rogers recalled Prince's methods on days like this. If he came in with the lyrics written, like he did with Dorothy Parker, or with the song that he was going to play acoustic drums on, he would take the lyrics and he'd either tape them to a tom, if he was going to play a tom, or I taped them to a mic stand in front of the kit. He would wear headphones, and with no click, reading the lyrics, he would play the entire drum part from top to bottom with the fills and the breaks and everything, just mentally singing the song in his head. Real fast, does everybody know what a drum click is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Somebody may not have been in band don't know what a drum click is.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, think of a metronome. So you can actually hear an audible click to the time and tempo of what you want to play. Click, 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 click. And you're playing to that click. So some drummers love it, some drummers hate it. But the thing about Prince that makes this so unique is that not only is he not playing with the click, he's keeping his time, but he's also keeping the time against the rest of the arrangement of the song that's going on in his head. So, all right, back to the thing. He would wear headphones, and with no click, reading the lyrics, he would play the entire drum part from top to bottom with the fills and the breaks and everything, just mentally singing the song in his head. He'd lay down this acoustic drum track, come into the control room, lay down the bass, and then everything else, and then eventually sing it. He would have not full arrangements in his head, but he'd have basic arrangements in his head as he was making the track. He knew what he wanted it to sound like.
Let me stop you there for a second. And I just got to hammer this home. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. We have more copies of fully written Prince lyrics than we do of Prince's fully written music notations.
Mm-hmm.
And this, what we've just been given, he is writing to the lyrics. So when I make the point about how important lyrics was for Prince, right? That as they said, Prince would walk in with the lyrics fully formed, but with a general idea of what he wanted the music to be a lot of times. Now, of course, a lot of times that could also be reversed. He would come in with a fully formed sound and then write lyrics to it. But in a lot of these cases, Prince is walking into the studio with a fully formed lyrical song that he's building music around. And I just think that's important as another example of Prince really was an artist who wanted to say something and thought about meticulously what he wanted to say. All right, I'll shut up.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
One quick thing too about the drum click, because Melvin's verifying, that the drum click at the timing. And the thing about keeping the timing is that drummers, they tend to drift. I play drums. There are drummers, and then there are people who play drums. I am the latter. And one of the hardest things about playing the drums is actually keeping the time, because everyone else, trio, quartet, quintet, is basing their whole thing on what it is that you're playing. And drummers, can drift a lot. That's why, like, when you go to live shows, the songs, they're usually like sped up. They're like a lot faster. For me, it's actually easier to play faster than slower. Not really sure why. And I don't know if that's a common thing. But it really accentuates the fact that Prince using no click, the whole of Dorothy Parker is feel. The whole song is feel. And I know we call things like that vibe, today, but really you're just feeling each other's energy. But dude is playing against himself in all cases, at God knows how early in the morning, with this poor woman stressed out because it's bored and giving the wait, we haven't even got to that part yet. Hold on.
Right.
All right.
Just real quick, we're talking about drums. We're talking about Dorothy Parker, like, and I don't know if it goes into it later here, but I mean, it's interesting you talk about drum playing. But to me, when I think of Dorothy Parker, I think of some of the most badass drum programming.
I know that. And then the insane thing is like, wait, Duke actually played acoustic on this, and that's how he started. And then he comes up with this other. Yeah, man, that drum machine is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, he already got you locked in, and then right at the end of the measure, he just throws in them 3 percussive knocks. It's like, okay.
And nobody's doing that at that time like that. Like, you know, you're hearing it done in a way that the normal person would not, like, how did you do that? You know, it's like, to me, it made me think of like 7/7/93/11, now knowing that it was, you know, a stock thing. But still, who keeps that type of time? You know what I'm saying? Such an unorthodox, but it is in the pocket and unorthodox. You know, it's just kind of funny to me. Like, it's just, but it has a feel to it. And to me, when I hear this song, you know, it's somebody that in my mind, okay, this is their slide. Like, he is obviously drawing upon, you know, all that, the vocal inflections. You know, I'm like, oh, this would have, this is like the Whiz Kids interpretation of something that may have been on the Riot album or something like that. But it just sonically
or fresh.
Sounds, or fresh, absolutely. But it just sonically sounds like this is what it would sound today, because the drum, you know, the technologies, them beats can be hitting, you know, and he's got the drum is hitting like a rap song would sort of hit in the early is very prominent, but it's anyway.
And then he puts 3 separate bass lines on top of it.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on with that. Come on, man.
This whole song is just this is like a master work of like everything you can imagine is in this song, you know. But anyway, let's keep going here.
All right. Quoting Susan Rogers, the fellow who designed this console, whose name was Frank DiMedio, came in from Los Angeles, Rogers adds. He was hooking it all up and Prince couldn't take it anymore. He says, just send him home. I just got to get to work. We put Frank on a plane and we sent him home. And Prince came downstairs and said the magic words, fresh tape. I put up fresh tape and we started recording the song. I had not finished testing the audio wiring or anything. In other words, I had just soldered the last connection. As always, he's playing every instrument and I'm just panicking on the inside because something does not sound right. It's really dull. There's no high end and I can't wait for the song to be finished because I've got to check it out and see what's going on. Of course, the song is coming out really well, and the whole time I'm thinking, I wish he would just stop. But that's not going to happen. The whole time, he hasn't even said anything, hadn't even commented on it, and I know he hears it. But he's really happy because he likes the song. At the very end, he gave me my final instructions and said, there's something about this console that doesn't sound like the one at Sunset's Down. It's really dull. And then he goes upstairs and goes to bed. I'm thinking, hell yeah, it's dull. There's no high end at all. But he conceived of this song in a dream, so he didn't mind that at all because it gave it this dreamy-like quality. Rogers was able to ascertain the problem. I got the voltmeter and saw that 1/2 of the power supply's rails were down. Instead of bipolar plus or minus 15 volts, we just had 15 volts. We had half the headroom and half the frequency response. According to Rogers, this was an illustration. Hold on. I'm flipping too fast. According to Rogers, this was an illustration about how it was the sculptor and not his expensive chisel that was responsible for the art. He was a perfect example of an artist who didn't need to rely on any special kind of tool, any special conditions, any special kind of situations. He didn't believe in any voodoo or magic associated with the work. If you've got the goods, you can show up at any studio with any console, with any microphone, and you can record under any circumstances if you're the real deal, and that's how he was. He wasn't going to let a little thing like no high end stop him from making music. Like Norwegian Wood by the Beatles, the Ballad of Dorothy Parker chronicles a man who is having an affair. The lyrics are a playful, inventive way of hiding how far the liaison went, and like the Beatles track, involves a bathtub. He's a clever lyricist, Not a great writer of lyrics, continued Rogers. And I wonder how he thinks of lyrics. Sometimes it is pure narrative. During Dorothy Parker, he is telling a story and there is an end. Other times, he is just expressing an emotional desire or feeling, and it is as simple as that. Dorothy Parker is storytelling, and he refers to Joni Mitchell, and it's just really an incredible song that takes you places, reflected Bobby Z. It's just brilliant songwriting. I've always liked it. When he respected someone, he wore it on his sleeve, and he tutored their music and loved their songs. Joni was obviously one of those people early on, and Carlos Santana early on were some of the real heroes of his life. Excuse me. He loved her because what Joni gave to him was an open heart. So listening to her music brought his defenses down, related Wendy. It's 100% true. He was not intimidated by her. He was moved by her. The Ballad of Dorothy Parker is an homage to the music he loved, agreed Rogers. He loved Kate Bush and Joni Mitchell. Prince had a strong feminine sensibility, and those writers are sophisticated in different ways. He valued jazz chords and very poetic lyrics. Wendy and Lisa were fans of Joni Mitchell, but Prince was a huge fan. I love all Joni's music, Prince told the Rocky Mountain News. He also explained that he plays her songs just to keep her name out there. Joni's music should be taught in school, if just from a literature standpoint. Prince was intimately familiar with Mitchell's music, but Susanna recalls how Dorothy Parker recently showed up on his radar. He ended up knowing who Dorothy Parker was because of the amount of black and white films that we would watch when we were together. It wasn't until I turned him on to the Philadelphia Story, George Cooper films, and then we had a couple of encyclopedias, and I think it was during this time that I had one of Old Hollywood. Dorothy Parker was in that. Even though Susanna wasn't a player, her involvement with Prince at the time was equally as important as anything else just because of the different background in music that they had, confirms Eric Leeds. Coincidentally, it just really worked with where he was at the time. Once again, Prince's story, his life, and the world around him helped give birth to his art. He was so good at turning life into music, observed Rogers. He made music out of the life he was living. All right, now at the end. Status. Ballad of Dorothy Parker, 4 minutes, 7 seconds, was released in 1987 on Signs of the Times. Prince asked Claire Fisher to add an orchestra to a 5-minute plus version of the track, but decided he preferred the shorter, stripped-down song, and the Prince Fisher Dorothy Parker remained unreleased during his lifetime. I am so happy for that. All right, man. When I read that part about Roger saying that Prince wasn't a great lyricist, I just, in my periphery, saw this chat light all the way up.
You know,
all the way up.
I love me some Susan Rogers, but you know.
Well, it's also interesting that she doesn't mention Sly. She mentions
none of them do. I pick up on that. But again, maybe they just don't listen to it like that, so they wouldn't know the reference or sort of what he's drawing from. And I can understand. And I'm not taking nothing away from Joni Mitchell. Fabulous, iconic, legendary.
Well, if you want to talk about a songwriter that's gonna make you feel some stuff, right. that's Joni Mitchell.
Yeah, but I say that to say, you know, for this particular song, yeah, she is name checked in this for sure. But I don't personally, I don't feel it draws from her musically. But that may be my inability to know a lot of her stuff.
Either. I think her inclusion is a utility for us to get an insight in the perspective of Dorothy Parker.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, and so for me, for somebody, and I don't know why it was odd to me that it was my father. Well, but my father actually was the person who introduced me to Joni Mitchell, which is, if you know, my father is a really militant guy, but it was through some other things that he had found Joni Mitchell. But to Brother Turnbull's point, I've always said that this song is a perfect merging. Because being a poet, I knew who Dorothy Parker was, or being a lover of poetry. And so if you read Dorothy Parker's short stories and poetry, and you read, of course, you listen to Joni Mitchell, they both, I remember hearing it, thinking about, oh yeah, because you hear something, oh, I know Dorothy Parker, I know Dorothy Parker, she was a poet. And then I started going through it. And a side note, a lot of people don't know this, Dorothy Parker was so an advocate for civil rights that she bequeathed her earnings to the Martin Luther King estate, or to Martin Luther King, and then upon his death, wanted them to then rotate to the NAACP. So she has been perpetually one of the biggest funders of the work of the NAACP, and they kept her ashes in Baltimore for years. And then when they moved from Baltimore to DC, they took her ashes with them to DC. So it was always cool knowing that Dorothy Parker was a great poet, short story writer. She was really down for civil rights. And now here's Prince name checking her in a song. For me, I was in 17-year-old heaven, right? But I would say that having all that background, that's why it sounded like I'd never heard anything like that before in my life. I'd never heard, but that was when, because my father, and you know, you have to understand, my father's a man of a particular time. When he introduced me to Dorothy Parker, the language is not going to be like what I would say. My father, like, oh, Johnny Mitchell bad. Boy, like that was that. And, so I don't. That's what he said. Like he didn't, you know. And again, but also he had come to know Joni Mitchell because what's my girl? Loving You. Minnie Riperton had covered one of Joni Mitchell's songs. And I can't think of the name of the song. And because Minnie Riperton had covered one of Joni Mitchell's songs, then it made my pop do a deep dive into Joni Mitchell. So my pop had like almost all of Joni Mitchell's records. And so I'll end by saying what I said. For me, the song was everything that both of y'all said. It was slashed on. And I tell you what I was going to use, but I took it out the book. What I was going to initially say was the Ballad of Dorothy Parker sounds like what a menage a trois would have sounded like between Sly, Joni, and Dorothy Parker. If they had a threesome, they would have birthed the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. And then finally somebody said, yeah, don't put that in the book. Anyway, that's it. Now I wish I would have put it in there. All right, I'll shut up.
Something I think about with the lyrics, I mean, for me, they're the most efficient lyrics that he's ever written. There's so much that goes on in this song, and there's so many levels to the song. I mean, we move really from three locations. This violent room that we don't, you know, quote unquote, see. He never inhabits it. He just comes from it, goes back to it, and then you have the restaurant, which is probably like an outdoor cafe because he's referring to Paris. And then, you know, we have the apartment. We have Dorothy's apartment, and we move there very effortlessly, and you know, like what a dream, you know, would do. But I've always felt strongly about. I don't know if you've all ever heard this, but have you ever heard the view that Dorothy Parker was a sex worker?
No.
Oh, that he, yeah. I've heard that that the persona in the
right. She got a lot of tips. She worked the night shift.
Okay. Yeah. She was a sex
worker. And that view of it always struck me as lazy, if you will, because there's so much that he talks about later in the song that makes me believe that no sex ever occurred.
Right.
That I don't even think that she got into the bathtub with him.
Right.
I do believe that that Prince in the scenario, you know, he was a womanizer. He comes from this violent room, fighting with lovers past. So he's been caught. He's just into it with all this conflict. Goes out to get some steam and some fruit. You know, he's at this restaurant, sees this beautiful waitress that comes up, who immediately starts flirting with him.
Right.
Right. Because he orders a fruit cocktail. He picks up on this flirtation, which is part of his problem. That's his MO.
Right.
Right. And we wind up in her apartment. The first thing she says, "Mind if I turn on the radio?" Ooh, my favorite song is playing on the radio, and it's "Help Me." And we get the first line of the song from "Help Me," and I'm gonna come back to that. Right. Phone rings. She doesn't answer it. Whoever that is, not as cute as you. That's then and there I knew I was through. Meaning She's definitely interested. He is too. He knows it's a bad idea, but he's just going to be who he is. Right.
Right.
And then we get into where he declares that his pants are wet. He tells her, I'm going to keep my pants on. I'm going to take this bath, but I'm going to keep my pants on because I'm kind of going with someone.
Right.
Now, he just starts out by saying that he's fighting with lovers past,
Yep.
but he tells her that he's kind of going with someone, which to me is his out. It's plausible deniability.
Right.
Right.
I'm loving this.
We're in the bathtub. My pants were wet. They came off, which insinuates that he either stood up and the water weight pulled the pants down. He pulled the pants down. See, somebody dealt with the pants.
Right.
Right.
And then we get to the crux of it. But she didn't see the movie because she hadn't read the book first. She didn't want to jump into the sexual situation because she knew nothing about him. There's no time that's been invested to actually learn about each other. And then he goes further. Instead of what? Instead of jumping into bed, instead she pretended she was blind.
Right.
She didn't look at him. An affliction brought on by a witch's curse. Dorothy made me laugh. I felt much better than I went back to the violent room. Meaning I left, but I continued to do the same thing the same ways. And then when I found myself back in that situation in the violent room, I changed my behavior. I took another bubble bath with my pants on. All the fighting stopped. Next time I'll do it sooner. And then after telling this whole story from his point of view, he tells that this whole thing that I just told you is all about Dorothy Parker.
Right.
Right. So there's this self-care aspect that goes into it. But going back to Help Me, she sings, Help Me, I think I'm falling in love again.
Right.
And that's the interlude that we hear in the song. But if you go into the rest of the verse of the song, when I get that funny feeling, I know I'm in trouble again because you're a rambler and a gambler and a sweet talking ladies man and you love your lovin', but not like you love your freedom. Meaning I know that you are a non-committal. I'm not going to get any kind of reciprocation of my feelings for you because I rush in them too fast anyway. So Dorothy does something different where even though we've taken it as far as we can take it before the act happens, you know what? I'm going to switch it up. I'm not going to look. I'm going to pretend I've been hit by an affliction by a witch. And we're not going to have sex. So Dorothy Parker is a song about two people who've been doing the same thing the same way, getting the same result, expecting a different result. Have a chance meeting, decide to do something different, and presumably both of them come out with a positive outcome.
Susan?
Yeah.
Might have went over your head, man.
Yeah.
Man. That's the level of song crafting and writing that Prince is doing.
And there's no chorus.
Right. And I would add to that, and I would only add to that, and I like what Web Diva 3000 put in there, because you're right on point on everything, is that I've always seen Dorothy Parker as the other end of the bookend to Darling Nikki. But he gets right. I'm walking down the street. I meet a woman on her way to get married. Yada yada yada. Exactly.
Ratio.
There you go.
Go to a hotel, walking through the lobby, see a woman reading a magazine. Yada yada yada. I'm signing my life away, and I'm torn up.
Exactly. And so of those three, right, of those three, and it's great, like those three. So the number three being the number completion. What you get after, so you get the lady in head, you get Darling Nikki.
Right.
And by the time you get to Dorothy Parker, right, the male protagonist is evolved enough to take the thing that is more fulfilling, right? What we know with Darling Nikki is that, I'm not going to use that term, that she takes more than she gives, right? Because he's left longing. With Dorothy Parker,
left longing, right?
With Dorothy Parker, she gives more, because what he's learning is the soul connection will always be more satisfying than the sexual activity, right? That's when you look at what Prince is working himself through, right? He's working himself through sex is salvation, and he finally, by the time he gets to Purple Rain, he realizes that no, sex is not going to save me. The climax, to use a pun, is that Darling Nikki doesn't save him, leaves him wanting. So we go through Purple Rain, we go through Around the World in a Day, and by the time we get to Dorothy Parker, as Brother Turnbull has so aptly, Dorothy Parker finally gives him that thing, which is also why Forever in My Life has to be on that album.
Maturity
because
on this album.
you can't get to Forever in My Life without going through the Dorothy Parker experience.
Yeah, and I was going to say, one of the things I think this album does, just in the story of Prince as an artist up to this point, it definitely displays a different level of maturity of his persona, I suppose. How much is him really, but the fact that if Prince did this song back in Purple Rain or Controversy album, it would have been a different outcome at the end of the song probably. But now that he leveled up in a sense, I love the way you broke that down. And even all this time, there's still parts that I missed in that, and I love how you just kind of open that out for me. So it's fantastic. This is one of the reasons too, man. And I wish we had this back in the 80s, even the 90s, where it would be this level of discourse for some brothers who could give a different perspective on this music, because unfortunately a lot of times back then our voices like this, you didn't get to hear this kind of conversation about Prince's music. It was formed by some rock critic cats who was really focused on other types of music, but this Prince thing, okay, this is, they didn't understand all the intricacies and the stuff that the references, the different things, man. So I love.
Well, they lock in. You want to take a bath? Yeah, cool. I'm gonna leave my pants on, and then you get into the whole Prince's weird thing, and then they stop.
Right. Well, they what they never did was they never got past sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I say in my Sinners analysis is that if you don't get anything else from Sinners, understand that for the blues musician, the psychotic or the psychedelic was the music, not the drug. Mm-hmm. The Conjuring. So you have to understand, for the blues and gospel musician, the Conjuring was the music. And I think that's what gets missed when you even talking about the whole Robert Johnson mythology, that when the standard rock critics are coming to Prince with the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, they are missing that Prince is also tapping into the blues and gospel mythology of spirituality. The blues and gospel notion that there's a spiritual force at work here in a way that, as you two have aptly said, get to the sex and the drugs and pay no attention to the spiritual thing that's at work in what Prince is trying to do through Marvin Gaye, through the blues, through the staple singers, and all of that.
Yeah, man. Love it. Before we move off of this, they blessed us with a different version of this song on the deluxe edition. I believe it had sax in it, Eric.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what you guys? I know we've talked about this before, but just quick thoughts on that version.
I will say this. I'm glad you give me a chance to redeem myself. I'm still happy that he didn't use them. But if you go back to that 5 weeks we spent on set, I murdered that version with the and now I feel bad about how bad I dumped on it. It was just so I just couldn't because it's perfect, when you hear something and it's perfect. So I'll just say I'm glad the horns are not on that, but I do feel bad that I really dumped on how much I hated the horns being on that track. I'll set up.
All right. What about you, Arthur?
I do not like it.
Is it because you're just so ingrained on the other way that it sounds a blasphemy to hear that, or you don't like? I don't know what you don't like about it.
So I will concede that I am a snob over that particular song. But I don't like it for the same reason that, and I'm foreshadowing what we need to read next, but for the same reason that I don't like the version of Witness with the horns and the background vocals.
Okay.
I think that the I'm going to call it original, but I'm saying that the original version is perfect just as it is. Doesn't need any more color. Doesn't need any more polish. Doesn't need any more. It's just, you know what? Just put down the paintbrush. Put down the trackpad. Put down the iPad. Just walk away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
It takes you out of the feel of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the horns make it busy.
Because Eric comes in after the fact and does plays against the song, so it takes you, and that's probably a better way to really talk about what my feeling is about it, right? Dorothy is a vibe all unto itself because it's happening, in the moment. That's the craziest thing. I mean, in the segment that we just read, the passage that we just read, she goes through his whole process of how he records, using Dorothy Parker as, the template of it. But I'm saying that's how he did it. He rolled down the stairs, put on fresh tape, hit the drums, ran through that whole thing, while homegirl is like fretting in the control room, right? But I'm saying he did the whole song.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So bringing somebody else in, yeah. But I'm just repeating myself.
Well,
bringing somebody else in and playing on that is not, that ain't, you can't lock into that.
You could argue a lot of his songs would fall into that perspective, because that initial recording, yeah. And I see somebody else mentioning that initial recording, of the song probably is.
And how many songs has he overdone because of that?
Right.
True. I will say this about the Dorothy Parker. I agree. I was right there with y'all. Like, I just couldn't stand to hear that. But I think I've let it play so many times that now there's a part of me when I think of Dorothy Parker, I think of it the traditional way, but also in my mind, I almost cannot not do that Eric Lee's the way. It is so stuck in my head, but I think it's just that horn line I think is dope. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily fit the song.
Yeah.
But I do love what Eric did there. So I let it play sometimes, even though I know in my mind that's not the real song. But I guess I enjoy the song enough that on a certain day I can hear a variation of that and be like, I can see in an alternate reality that I probably would have been like, I could have saw that if I had knew nothing else. But the problem is I have lived the original song from just that original cassette tape back in the day, sounded grainy, to now the super fidelity version you have today, but it's still the same core of the song. So anyway, the last thing I wanted to ask about this song, I feel like I wish we lived in a world where in the Sign of Times movie they performed this song live, and it was great. I've heard a couple of takes on this live, and I have heard a live version that was phenomenal, but I have also had some that I was like,
I don't know if he's ever.
It was like a Kiss, like it's almost impossible sometimes to do it the way it sounds on the record.
It's like you can't. Yeah, there's no way to really do it. I only heard Kiss played right one time, but this, man, I don't know if you could even do it like that because the arrangement. So on YouTube, The Tonight Show, a Jay Leno Tonight Show, and he does Dorothy Parker with Rhonda and Neto and Blackwell. That arrangement is what Mike's talking about, going all the way back to 1987.
Well, actually,
I think it was like
is from a Sign of Times tour rehearsal.
Really? Oh, well, let's talk about that after.
We just never got
offline. But that arrangement where he fuses the first half of Dorothy Parker into 4 from Madhouse.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And
that goes back to
then. That's
that's an old arrangement. Yeah. And I think that was like genius, but it's like what can we really do with this? We can't, you can't play that live.
Yeah. And he has some of those songs that almost seem impossible live. At the top of my head, I will say this song, Kiss. God, the other one I just had it.
Dubs. When Doves Cry.
The one he did
never has worked for me live.
I love the one he did on that birthday show in Minneapolis. That was badass to me. But I can see what you. It's the ones that are drum machine songs. Another Lover. That's the. I mean, I've heard some cool ones, but they never have captured to me like because the songs, the drum machine songs, like you know, and I don't know why he doesn't, because the drum machine programming through the Sign of the Times tour is fantastic. Like, but anyway, any last words on this song before we move on? We gave it a proper.
Okay, one quick one. A couple months ago, there were these two. It's a YouTube show. I forget the name of it, but it's done by these two musicians. I mean, they're actually like straight up musicians, you know. And they were talking about Sign of the Times. And it's got like, I don't know how many now, but it had like, you know, tens of thousands of views on it. And a lot of us got up in arms because they got a lot of stuff wrong about Prince in general, but Sign of the Times in particular. I admittedly, I didn't watch the whole thing. I scrubbed through a lot of it. And I got to the part about where they talk about the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. And when the song comes on, because I guess they play excerpts of the songs and they talk about it. When the song comes on, one of the guys, he just closes his eyes and he's just making faces and he just groove into it. Like he can't even talk about it. Right. You know? And I said to myself, you know what? Here's a show that has introduced thousands of people to a Prince album that's not Purple Rain.
Right.
And then, despite your inaccuracies, you get this right because that's exactly how you're supposed to respond when you hear the song comes on. You know, I'm not going to give you a pass, but I might walk you down the hall. Right. Just to make sure that you get to the other end safely, and maybe I can teach you something.
Right.
But that's like, to me, that's like the power of the song because it's like such left field. It's probably the cultiest of cult classics that Prince has. Okay, I'll shut up.
All right. Let's we got more to do. All right, so I'll read this one. Friday, March 14th, 1986. Witness for the prosecution. Tracking overdubs and mix. Movie star. I think I've heard of that song. Probable tracking overdubs and mix. Galpin Blvd home studio, Chanhassen, Minnesota. Producer Prince, artist Prince, engineer Susan Rogers. Quote from Prince: "Imagine Morris Day doing movie star. That's who it was written for. The time." Okay. Prince would keep various people in his orbit just because he enjoyed their company. Maybe they reminded him of a certain time in his life. Maybe they brought something special to him as a musician. Or maybe he just enjoyed their company and their effect on his mood. Jerome Benton was one of those people who Prince seemed to enjoy having around. After the time broke up, he was added to the Purple Rain tour and included in the family. Once the family collapsed, Prince invited him to join the upcoming tour as a dancer, but most importantly, he crafted Under the Cherry Moon to feature him. Jerome was just a sweetheart of a person, according to Peggy Mack. He was like Switzerland. He was always happy. He was always just one of those guys who was always a good guy. And he was funny, and he never pulled an attitude. He always made people laugh, and he didn't give Prince any ego trip. He did whatever Prince wanted, and he was happy to do it. Jerome made him laugh all the time, and he needed to laugh. Remember, Susanna? I just want to read that one. Jerome made him laugh all the time, and he needed to laugh. And that relationship in Under the Cherry Moon was a lot like what they were in life. Prince enjoyed going out for 20 minutes to see what the vibe was, recalled Benton. He got what he needed to get from 20 minutes of hanging out. I remember when we started meshing our relationship. We were in a rehearsal, and he'd be saying, "We're going out tonight." Shout out to Cameo. I said, "Okay, cool. Where are we going? I'll come by and pick you up." And I'm waiting. 10 o'clock. I'm like, "Okay, you should be here in a minute." 11 o'clock. Okay. Where is he? Where is he at? 12 o'clock. Here's a quote. He pulls up. Now we're 30, 40 minutes from the club downtown. We pull up, double park in a no parking zone. Get out the car. Of course, the bouncer opens the door and we walk right in, get a quick drink, stand around for a minute, feel the vibe. Prince was seeing what people loved would turn people on, honing all that stuff into a cachet of what it was going to take to be successful. We jump back in the car, we go to Perkins or we go to Rudolph's. We sit in the corner and he's vibing on what people experienced that night. And then we jump back in the car and we roll back through downtown looking at all the crowd clearing out from the clubs. And we roll back either to the studio or he'll drop me off at the home. Then the next morning he called me. I want you to come by and listen to the song I did. So he was in his element of nurturing what he needed to continue writing. Man. During this session, Prince was seemingly inspired by a night similar to this when he wrote and recorded Movie Star, a song that he indicated in the liner notes of the 1998 Crystal Ball release was created for the time. On the recording, Prince talks about getting some serious draws and even uses the Morris old man voice when he says, "Mo draws." Although the time had broken up 2 years earlier and showed no signs of reuniting, they were Prince's first real protege band and his outlet for his funk and rock recordings.
Them Negroes will be back.
Morris, especially Jerome, they meant a lot to him, confirmed Susan Rogers. I think it was hard losing Morris, but I kind of thought that Movie Star was about his own longings. So many of his own longings he didn't want other people to know about. He didn't want people to associate with Prince, like that pimp persona that Morris exemplified. That was Prince. It sprang from Prince's mind, but he didn't want people to know that was Prince. So he had this alter ego. So when he says, "I wrote Movie Star for the time," in some way, I'm guessing he might be protecting himself. He doesn't want you to know that that's him. Interesting. All right. Prince was seemingly inspiring himself because the phrase "makes you feel like a movie star" was in Raspberry Beret. And that actually went over my head. Movie Star also contained the expression, "Can I play with you?" which is either a total coincidence or an indication that Prince was thinking about the track he submitted to Miles Davis. All right, Witness for the Prosecution, the title reportedly based on the 1957. Actually, I'm going to stop right. No, we'll do it. My bad. Witness for Prosecution, the title reportedly based on the 1957 Billy Wilder movie starring Tyrone Power and Marlene Dietrich.
Dietrich.
Was a song about a man's denial that he's done anything to hurt the object of his lifelong obsessive love. The song starts off with a looped sample from the Fairlight that is shattered by the crisp string of acoustic drums, thumb-plucked bass, and guitar. Horns and background vocals would be added to the tracks a month later. Witness for the Prosecution and Movie Star were mixed at the end of the evening. Status: Movie Star, 4 minutes, 25 seconds, was included on Prince's Crystal Ball album in 1998. Although it was intended for the time, it is unlikely that Morris Day added his vocals to the track. Miles Davis would perform Movie Star during his 1987 and 1988 tours. The first version of Witness for the Prosecution, 4 minutes, was never released by Prince, but was issued as the first single for the posthumous Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition in 2020. The theme of love being played out in the courtroom would be revisited on Prince's 1995 release, I Hate You, 'Cause You're Always Sad on My Mind. Fellas. Movie Star. Who would like to start?
So we doing Movie Star first?
Yes.
All right. So I'll just say, because I can't wait till we get the Witness. Movie Star for me was just the first time we heard that boot. And I think we had that with Witness on it, and then what is it? Because Movie Star fades out into
Place in
Place in
Heaven.
heaven.
Place in Heaven, yeah. And it's like, why does chirping supposed to make you honey, but it just make me want to go to the bathroom, right? That whole so
Environmental records. Boy, you had me stuck.
Yeah. So you like environmental records, right? So I get that it was written for Morris, but by the time we got that boot, by the time we'd seen Christopher Tracy, I knew this was Jamie Starr. Like I don't, and I'm not trying, and I think a lot of us by that time had figured out this was Jamie Starr. So this was one of those, I'm not gonna say few songs, but this was one of those songs that oh, that's dog. Homegirl went to sleep, right? Oh, that's dog, right? That it's one of those bootlegs that I thought that I used to wish people had heard. Like I really thought it would. I don't know what I thought it would do, but it was one of those songs that I really wish people had heard. I wanted them to hear this version, not a Morris Day version. I just think that it would have given people a more well-rounded understanding of who Prince was.
Yeah, the range.
Yeah, the range. There you go. And so that's my thing about Movie Star. I love it, but as much as I love it, I just wish people would have known kind of in real time that he had this in his bag. I'll shut up.
Let me ask you before we get into author's take. It was something you said. Oh, we're talking about the range. Can we just sort of imagine for a second in today's world? And I can understand back then when Prince was coming out, where he wanted the Prince persona to be a very specific thing, and then of course the time would be a very specific thing. Vanity 6 is its thing, and Madhouse is it's sort of keeping them all separate, but it is the one person. And maybe he's thinking, I don't want you to know that about me. I don't want you to associate that type of stuff with the Prince character. I'm more of this. But I think as he grew, that doesn't matter anymore. But it'd have been interesting if he came out in a time where none of that had to matter, where he would have just been judged strictly on the body of work, whatever he wanted to put out. Like if he wanted to have the album and he produced and wrote the song and there's Nasty Girl, but it was on the Prince album, and it's Vanity singing it. But like today, Dr. Dre or something, it's the producer is the thing, and whatever the music is just music that he made. It doesn't have to be necessarily featured on it, or if the ideology of the song doesn't match, it doesn't matter. So I would be interesting if we'd have just got a Prince who didn't have to care about that. And Movie Star, that was Prince, and he didn't have to separate himself, and we didn't get to hear it because of the separation, and it had to sit on the shelf. But if it just could have came out when it came out. So I'm asking a long question, but it would have been, what do you think would have been cool if he didn't have to separate his shit like that?
I think it's a great question. It's an important question. And I will say this, and I like somebody just put in there the Jamie Starr mixtape, right? I like that concept. But I will say this, and I'll give you an example why I'd say that. I would say that sadly, it hasn't changed to where we don't allow people to have range. And I will say that white artists are given a little bit more range than black artists. So I completely understand why Prince did what he did through Jamie Starr and through all those things. And I'll give you I want to give you two examples. But the perfect example for me would be Darius Rucker. When Darius Rucker dropped Back to Then, and I want Brother Turnbull to hear this. My wife and I were watching him. He was doing kind of an acoustic set on television. We heard two songs. We didn't even finish the concert. We left our car. We left our house, and we ran out, and we bought 3 goddamn CDs of the album. All we heard was 2 songs. And when people said, why you got back 3 CDs? We bought 3 CDs because we wanted one in her car, we wanted one in my car, and we wanted one in the house. And to this day, Darius Rucker's Back to Then is one of my favorite effing records. I love that album from beginning to end. But they played the lead single, Wild One, when what was the BT the show, the what did you call in on 1 and 6 and Park? What was it you call in to hear your favorite song? It was kind of like the TRL show on MTV.
106 and Park, I think.
Okay, so they played Back to Then, and everybody said he shouldn't be doing that kind of music.
I
remember it, and I remember being, I remember that may have been the last time I watched 106 in Park. Because I was so mad that it wasn't that it was a good record.
Right.
In fact, I think one of the sisters said, it's jamming, he shouldn't be doing it. Why? Because in their mind, he was a country singer. In their mind, they had already put him, and I think that there are a lot of people who still, and again, I think that, I want to be clear, I think all artists suffer from that. I do think, however, that even though white artists suffer from it, they get a little bit more latitude as a way that black artists basically they are more pigeonholed in ways that white artists are not. Although I think all white artists are. So I'm liking that. I just think that he was right doing it the way he did it because he understood what people were going to do. I'll shut up.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So what's funny is I didn't expect you to say he shouldn't be doing it because he's a country artist. That's what got me. And the reason why is because Darius Rucker, who didn't Hootie and the Blowfish like win a Grammy for that first album? Yep, I mean, he, you know, Hootie and the Blowfish, that was like that male Lilith Fair-esque type of rock, like with Blind Melon and such, you know. And then so he moves to country, becomes a country artist, and he's hugely successful. But I think, I mean, granted, you know, we know what's up, but it's like the wider black community aren't really like messing with him like that. And I feel like this is a tangent, but I'm coming right back on point. I feel like there are several young black country artists, Shabuzi, but there, you know, and there's several other women.
I've heard his name.
Some were on Beyonce's album because she was trying to give them a platform, right? Who look like the audience. They look like us, right? Well, our kids, but they look like us, right? For all intents and purposes, if you never heard anything come out of their mouth, you would assume that they are in the modern R&B lane, right? But it's the country, I don't know, stigma, whatever, that doesn't allow these same kids in the audience tent of R&B, because we should,
right? Like
these artists. And I think that that's what you're illustrating, like with Darius Rucker. But I also think that's what you're illustrating with Movie Star in that range of what Mike was talking about. Why, you know, I wish he didn't have to put out, you know, all these vehicles. He could just be himself, because it's like the tent is only so big,
right?
With us as the audience,
right?
Sometimes, and I think that you know, Parade is such a special record, such a special time. But I remember, you know, Prince was doing, he'd have like a People magazine cover, and he was like in a yellow suit. He rolled up to the Under the Cherry Moon.
By the way, I love that suit. Prof does hate that suit. So
yeah. When he was like, you know, he walked out looking like a full on Crayola crayon. It would be like all red, all yellow, all orange, all purple, all black, all white.
That was pimping.
And
he was definitely shopping at your local pimp store.
Yeah. Definitely, right. And I'm thinking, you know, and I feel like because of the disintegration of all of these other groups, Vanity Six, Apollonia Six, The Time, The Family, it's almost that he didn't have a choice but to be who he was. Like it happened most matter of factly, because there wasn't any proxy to be able to channel, you know, this music. And I mean, let's think about it. You know, I mean, 1986, Kiss is burning up the charts. If Prince comes out with Movie Star, does that compete with what's my man's name that did the song Shake You Down? Gregory.
Oh yeah, Greg Abbott.
Yeah, Gregory Abbott. You know, I'm saying is the tent big enough for that kind of R&B audience who's accepting Kiss as the song, as the banger,
right? And
then we get Movie Star, which is this branch out version.
Well, yeah, I mean, to me, it would have been like Love or Money, sits on the other side of it. It could have been it could have.
Yeah, but Love or Money is more of a groove, right? I mean, you can whittle it down to 3 minutes and 46 seconds. And I mean, I'm with you. First of all, I mean, I'm with you, but you said
Movie Star are more closer together than. I mean, they're both stripped down funk numbers in a sense. Almost minimalist takes.
I also,
but I mean, we're arguing of
but I also want to say
right.
So also, I want to say the part that doesn't need to be said, but I think also we need to say it out loud, because I think a lot of times when we're having these conversations, we assume that everybody kind of understands some things. Mm-hmm. So I'm also going to say this other part out loud in case there are people in the chat who may not know the quiet part, because I like that Brother Turnbull used the tent and what's under the tent, right? And I want to come back to, yes, Prince was right doing what he did with Jamie Starr, and me, I can be upset at how they reacted on 106 and Park to Darius Rucker's album.
Bus Boys, sorry.
Yeah, but I do also understand that also for African Americans, when we're making aesthetic choices, we're also innately making social political choices. And I think that a lot of times what people who are not of the African American community don't understand, I'm not saying it's right, I'm not even saying it should or shouldn't be this way, that when we are making aesthetic choices for who should be in the tent, I think a lot of times people are making also social political choices of who we can trust in the tent. And I'm not saying that's right. I want to be clear. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that if you are a community that's been under attack, in fact, you are brought here as chattel, you were brought here as property, right? And you were like shit. Before we do, man, Roxy Music.
See, Lee's on point with Roxy Music, okay, but I want to go back to Scott talking about the Bus Boys.
Wait a minute. I gotta address this.
Go ahead.
Because on the one hand, I understand what Brother Lee is saying, but on the other hand, Brother Lee, where I'm gonna push back on what you're saying is because that opens the door. And again, I love David Z, so I'm not, but David Z said some of the stupidest bullshit I ever heard anybody say. David Z said that the black community did not like Prince early because he didn't sound like the Temptations.
Of all the groups.
Yeah, of all the groups. He said that the black
of all the groups.
So my only pushback is that I'm not saying that there's anything necessarily wrong with what Brother Christian is saying. But I think it needs to be understood that the black community was down with Prince since For You. And in fact, from For You until the second leg of the 1999 tour, I want to say it again, from For You until the second leg of the 1999 tour, Prince's audience and touring audience and people were buying the tickets was 65 to 70% black. So we have to, so that's not knocking. I just need to make that clarification, because I didn't want us to get off into the whole, white people was up on Prince first, or even European. No, hell no. Detroit.
What timeline did that happen?
Motor City was up on Prince first. Detroit played
okay, the D, baby.
Detroit played Prince's music before Minneapolis did.
Okay.
So I want to be clear, that's from For You until the second leg of the 1999 tour. That fan base was 65 to 70% black, and Prince's career was founded on, based on, and driven by black love, which is what makes it so sad that he has to pull a Jamie Starr, because to what Brother Turnbull said, we are gatekeeping who can come into the tent, because we are allowing our social political issues to determine who should be musically in the tent. That's it. I'll shut up.
I love how you gave Seeley full frame on that. Listen,
did that earlier.
The Bus Boys. So
yes, I love them. Go ahead.
When 48 Hours, when 48 Hours was released, Eddie Murphy's debut with Nick Nolte, the buddy cop movie, the Busboys were featured in the club scenes where Eddie was talking to Ola Ray.
Yep.
Now I hadn't heard of the Busboys, but to see this group who's playing this music that, to me, based on the AM radio that I was listening to,
say AM again,
felt in quotes more akin to, you know, the Detroit Bob Seger, George Thorogood groove records, was like a hard, like, if I just stood up and just turned my computer off and just shut it all down, it was like this hard stop. And I just had to immediately reorient my mind because I mean everybody in the club and Eddie, they grew it. I think the Busboys wound up on Saturday Night Live too. But I'm just saying, it was like, okay, here's this whole reworking of who's actually playing this music and who's being promoted playing this music. There's like a clear difference and a clear distinction, and it does speak directly to what it is that we're talking about, and one of the reasons why I think Parade is so special, because now y'all know me, I go way off tangent. It's very difficult for me to kind of get it back online sometimes, but I'm trying really, really, really hard to keep it like Jules and at the end of Pulp Fiction. I'm trying real hard, Vincent, to keep it all together. That all of these all of these groups left.
Minutes, I gotta run to the thing real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna keep it succinct. Try to keep nobody like leaving us. All these groups leaving, but also, if we remember, I talked about this a couple years ago at Duff Symposium, the Triple Threat Symposium, that at somewhere around the end of 1982, at the beginnings of the 1999 tour, or before. I don't know exactly when. Des Dickerson talks about this in his book, that Prince came to him and said, I want you to play more guitar.
Right.
I'm going to be more of a front man.
Right.
Your playing is better than mine anyway. And Des like, yeah, I thought so too. He also said it on Homegirl's podcast and Annie's podcast. By the time that we get to Parade, Prince has fully moved over into the realm of frontman. Mm-hmm. And now you see this expanded revolution that he's leading, and it's the band that are doing all of these things, based on his cues. It's like he's now presenting himself as who he is. And it was Duff herself that really broke this down to me, because I've got some issues with the film Under the Cherry Moon, where she broke it down like, listen, that this is Prince at his most authentic self. And so we see where he either accepts the fact that he doesn't need the proxies anymore, or, and like the Rogers quote when we were reading, where it's like, the talent, he can just walk into any studio, use whatever equipment, and he can still get down. Or he's just dealing with the fact, well, I got lemons, I'm gonna make lemonade, I'm not gonna worry about it. It's not gonna stop me from my art and putting out the art that I want to put out. But again, I ask, it's one thing when we see Prince live on stage, he can play whatever he wants. It's another thing when we driving to and from work on Drive Time Radio and we hear Movie Star on the radio. Are we accepting Movie Star?
Right.
As the Prince that we know and love?
Right.
I would have, but I mean, I'm in the zone. But I don't know.
No, I think that's the point. I think Prince understood that from commercial, and I'm gonna say commercial, not true Prince heads. I think Prince understood that from a commercial standpoint, not as many people would have been as open as the diehard Prince fans. I think he really understood that people put you in a box. People say, because what happens is the moment you come out, you become that thing to people.
Right.
The problem is that once you try to evolve, and particularly if you try to evolve too fast, you may be evolving beyond most people's artistic or aesthetic bandwidth, to use that term. And I think that Prince was really conscious about evolving past. I think he was conscious about evolving past people's bandwidth until he stopped being conscious about evolving past people's bandwidth And there's that moment, wherever we draw that line, there became a line where Prince just said, F it, right? And I'm just I've done enough to where I'm going to paint with all these colors. I think it was Kim in the chat who said these colors, because I think that one of the things, and I'm glad also Kim put band leader, to your point, Brother Turnbull, I think that Prince always, and struggle is not a word, so y'all can give me another word, because I don't like struggle because it sounds negative.
Mm-hmm.
I think because Prince was so much, that Prince was always going back between three things: solo artist, member of a group, band leader.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that is because, and you two can correct me, and particularly because you know what you know about guitar, Prince is one of the few people who is as good on rhythm as he is on lead.
Mm-hmm.
Most people who are really good lead guitarists often suck as rhythm guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of really pocket rhythm guitar players don't have that off the chart solo that we may think. And I think that part of that was because Prince loved those things so much holistically that he was always, you could always kind of tell, on this song, I'm a member of the group. On this song, I'm a solo artist. On this song, I'm a band leader. And I just think that throughout his career, he was bobbing and weaving and doing those things. And I think that a lot of times it may have rubbed people the wrong way. He may not have been communicating it, because I think that even in his head, he may not have always have been certain about where he was and what he wanted to do, and may have been doing that multiple times on one album. So I think that, to your point, that was just, I think, a natural expression of all the different ways he approached music. But he was also conscious of the fact that not everybody could keep up, if that makes sense.
No, I agree. I think when you said there was a line, you know, I would be like, you know, to me, it was a couple of lines here and already crossed at this point. Dirty Mind was a line. Like I can imagine if you bought the first two Prince albums, you know, it's okay, it's a smooth R&B, you know, there's a little Stevie, you know, and then you get to Dirty Mind and it's like, whoa, like this is not, I've heard you can hear inklings of some of this but it was never presented like that. There's no sister and there's no head necessarily, you know. Soft and Wet would have been was cute, but head ain't cute. That's like head. So to me, it already sort of crossed the line to be like, yeah, I'm not the traditional, aren't y'all? Obviously, you could care less what you thought about his persona before that point. Around the World in a Day is like another line where it's like, I'm at the top of the game. I don't care. Like I'm breaking boundaries. You expect me to be turn my back to that and become this artist type thing. So to me, so like a movie star, or there's a number of songs you can use this. I feel like at that point we've already experienced it. We've already had Irresistible Bitch. Like that was a hit in the streets. Erotic City. That's Prince. Like we know what you are. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like I can understand why he would want this to be for Morris, but I think this would have worked perfectly for him, because one, it would have played into the movie. And one hand, I would say that I've always said this. The first time I actually ever heard a snippet of Movie Star was the Radioscope radio program. I think it's Lee Bailey. You go back and Google that, and it was a syndicated black radio show that covered R&B or black music. But I remember they did a whole piece one time, and this was, I think it was either during Cherry Moon days, or it was just after the movie came out. And I don't know why, but they played that part where he says, well, I like making that money.
Right.
And it would bug me out, because I was like, God, what? I said, I know that's Prince saying that, but what song is that? And and then never hear it again until the 90s when the bootlegs come out. But I say all that to say, like, I wouldn't have batted an eye. I would have been like, yo, this is the dude who made Lady Cab Driver. Hell yeah. Like, so, but
but again, you wouldn't have.
Right. And I'm not a super, super deep fan at that point.
No, but what I'm saying is that you wouldn't have, but a lot of people would have. And I think that's what Prince.
True.
You see what I'm saying? Like.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So like we would have, But I think Prince is also mindful of the fact that, and so even when he's making a Dirty Mind, even when he's making a controversy, he's like, yeah, but I want this time ish out too.
For sure.
So good. I'm sorry, Brother Turnbull, you were gonna say something.
No. I'll refrain. I'll just go and rant over, something I probably said 5 minutes ago anyway. Go ahead.
All right. Movies. Well, we were talking about movie star, right? And we didn't even get into Witness, but I
just say this about Witness.
Well, I was going to say, let's read the next part and then we'll go.
Oh, hey, real quick question. Isn't D'Angelo the reason that we got movie star on Crystal Ball? I heard a story.
I think it says that in the liner notes. That's like his favorite boot or something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And
Thank you, Michael.
that was one of those songs that just for many a years, that was the song when like my buddies that were musicians or music cats I'd be around with, they had long since stopped listening to Prince like that. I would play them. That was always the one I would play them. Like, Nick, you ain't heard? They were like, when did this come out? It's dead. And I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, man, the Boost is serious, dog. Like y'all thought he fell off. I mean, he got heat, man. It's just y'all ain't hearing it. So there was always one of them songs. I still like. It's just one of my favorites. All right, man. Movie star, dope. Let's read the next section, and that will lead us to talk about Witness as well. Celie, do you want to do? Is it Friday? Wait, where are we? Yeah. My bad. Saturday, March 15th.
March 15th. There we go. Movie star overdubs mix. The Ballad of Dorothy Parker overdubs mix. Witness for the Prosecution overdubs mix. A Place in Heaven tracking overdubs and mix. Strange Relationship possible overdub mix. Galpin Blvd home studio, Chanhassen, Minnesota. Producer Prince, artist Prince, engineer Susan Rogers. Y'all want the Eric Lee's quote?
Yes.
Prince was in, so this Eric Lee's, Prince was in a recording studio pretty much every day because first of all, he could be because he had his own studio by then. But the other thing was he didn't have anything else in his life that he had enough interest to do. So even on days when he might not have anything specific in his mind going on, he was still going to go to the studio because, well, what the hell else am I going to do today? In the quote by Eric Lee's. Unlike most recording studios, which are windowless vaults that mask the passing of time, Prince's new home studio allowed the sun to decorate the room with a warm, colorful light. Quote, at the Galpin house, we had these beautiful stained window glass reflect Susanna. There were 3 panels, and if you were facing the porch, behind you was a silver light that would come up. The east morning sun would bring out the beauty, and then there was the drum room. In the passing tracking rooms, there were windows. End the quote. One of the byproducts of the almost church-like atmosphere was A Place in Heaven, which was tracked either late the previous day or during this session. The song was another solo effort with Prince adding several fairlight elements, bells, timpani, and harpsichord, piano, and a guide vocal for Lisa. A Place in Heaven was a song that he intended for Lisa Coleman to sing. Remember Susan Rogers? I had the impression that it was for a movie of some kind. Having Lisa sing the song could have been something for the female lead in the future movie that he had in his head. I don't know, but he just did a guide vocal on it. In the quote, he would work on updating Music Star, which likely included recording the backing vocals with Susanna and revisiting the mix. Several other recent tracks, including the Ballad of Dorothy Parker and Witness for the Prosecution, were given new mixes, and Strange Relationship, which he continued to take out of the vault and tweak, this time with edits and a new mix. With Strange Relationship, it was so good that every version worked, Rogers remembered fondly. Her continued quote, there were so many different premonitions of that song, and I don't think I ever heard it sound bad. And I think it's another one of those things that was just really fun to take it out and play with it, end quote. Prince enjoyed creating, but he also seemed to get pleasure from sharing songs with those in his inner circle, almost as if he was exposing an extension of himself to those he trusted. Lisa says, quote, there was a moment when we were all in the room and Prince pressed play and just said, do you like it? Lisa recalled when she, let me turn my page. Sorry, y'all. When she and Wendy heard Witness for the Prosecution for the first time, that was good stuff. While traveling the following month, Prince would lead Witness and several of the other songs for Wendy, Lisa, Susanna, Eric, Alana Bliss, and Susan Rogers to add their colors to his paintings. I will only say that unlike Ballad of Dorothy Parker, I love both versions of Witness. Although, like everybody else, I got the one without the horns on that bootleg that we had, the black and white bootleg where he's doing the Batman thing there. But I really love both versions of Witness for the Prosecution because I get rock and funk. And anytime I can get both rock and funk from Prince, I'm a happy chappy. And I just want to say that if Strange Relationship, if it isn't the greatest song ever written, it is certainly a song by which God came down and entered Prince's body and said, funky is as funky I want it to be. I'll shut up.
I'm going to do mine real quick because I'll let off the run. Witness, does both versions have the tambourine popping? So for me, if you listen to it, dial in with your ears and hear the tambourine playing in that. That's my favorite. I wish I could see. I assume that's Prince, but that's somebody who, and they never speak about this. And he must have been going to church as a kid. Did we ever cover that? Like, there's no way he must have been going to somebody's church service back there in Minneapolis.
Yeah, because I remember that was an interview where you remember the interview where they mailed Prince some questions and he typed his answers. And so some of the answers would be, see my answer to number 4. Then they go down again and say, see my answer to number 6. And then number 6 would say, see my answer to number 4. Y'all remember that one? And so I think that was the interview where they asked him about the church thing. And one line was, I like the music. So that's why I was like, so when they asked him, what was your religious or church going experience? And he said, I like the music. So that for me confirmed that, like what you were saying, that yes, he was steeped in the church as far as music. Because
the tambourine playing, I just love it. So to me, I hear, yes, you can hear the rock, but I hear to me, it just sounds like some down home, blues church type thing, mashup. He just has different sounds, some of the part, but that's when I hear, that's what it reminds me of. Witness, Lord have mercy. That's how it rocks to me. So I love that song. The other part, Place in Heaven, Ballad of Dorothy Parker, Strange Relationship. Man, if something would have happened and there was no more Prince at this point, boy, he would have left us with the most outrageously badass set of recordings done to man. Like, I would have just blew my mind if that would have been all. So the fact that this is what the palette that he's working with on a Saturday on March 15th is absolutely insane to me, because every song I think is fantastic, and they work the way they work and different enough from each other. He was at the top of the game, in my opinion. It even goes better, but wow, what a body of work. That's all I gotta say.
And yes, Chris Bernay, just want to quick. Yes, Chris, brother Bernay, Prince's family was a Seventh-day Adventist, and for just to kind of make that connection, if you know that Prince's family was a Seventh-day Adventist, then it wouldn't have been a great stretch for him to become a Jehovah's Witness, because people don't know Jehovah's Witnesses actually are an outgrowth of the Seventh-day Adventists. And just my own intellectual geeking out, Brother Turnbull and Brother Dean, there's nothing I love more than watching Seventh-day Adventists fight with Jehovah's Witnesses. It is like the greatest intellectual fun for me to geek out on nerd religious philosophy. All right, go ahead, Brother Turnbull. I just love them debating.
Yeah, I just don't like the horns. I don't like the background vocals. I think it removes the power from the song in the same way that the sax overdub removes the feel from Dorothy Parker. I wonder sometimes, in examples like Witness in particular, if he was just trying to get other participation on the Revolution record. Okay. I mean, Parade is like the quintessential Prince of the Revolution record, right? Because the other two were really done by him, you know. And I wonder if he was consciously encouraging participation to see how things sounded, you know, and then choosing badly. But here's the thing, though. Witness was never, you know, put out officially. I don't even know if it was, you know, played live. But I just feel like, man, it's just such a powerful song, and it's just sometimes I just wish he would just kind of like just leave stuff, you know, just leave stuff be.
Let me, brother Turner, let me ask you a question, because we had this on that same boot, and I'm wondering if this also, because the way I got it set up, whenever I listen to the Witness without the horns, Girl of My Dreams is somewhere close by. And so my question is, what is your feeling about, do you like, dislike Girl of My Dreams? And does that in any way impact also how you may feel about Witness without the horns?
Wow, that's good. So I could leave Girl of My Dreams. I'm not a big fan of Delirious. I'm not a big fan of the
Rockabilly.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Rockabilly Prince. There are some moments, but yeah, not a big fan of that overall. Man, the chat is really all riding.
Yeah, they rock. Love it.
Yeah,
Brother Christian, I like your joke. I love it, brother. Said all 7-day adventures and Sealy watches them fall. That's funny. That is funny.
Hey, slow down now.
That's funny. They may get us canceled, but it's funny.
yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
See, man, I wish we could somehow kind of get in this chat, 'cause I want to get in here. Cause like I wouldn't take Do You Lie off of Parade. I think I love Do You Lie. I mean, it's such a left thing for Prince to do.
Somebody want to Do You Lie, take it off?
I don't know. You know what? It's scrolling, so I don't know if it's a hard. Yeah, I don't like this song so much as okay. You know, what do we pull off a Parade to put something else in?
No, there will be no Do You Lie.
Yeah, Horny Toad. See, that's what I'm talking. There are some exceptions, but I mean, like sometimes Prince. I just feel like sometimes Prince, because he can do it, he does do it. You know. And the Stray Cats were a thing that were really happening.
Stray Cats.
And, you know, he just kind of like got in that. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
So
for my young ones out there,
For me.
go look up the Stray after the show. Go on YouTube and type in the Stray Cats so you can context. This was a movement. What was Stray Cats? Was sort of a harken back to the 50s Greaser aesthetic.
But they want the Stray Cats. Well, I was gonna say they couldn't necessarily take. They would be just traditional rock and roll and not necessarily rockabilly. But I was in my mind as I was saying that they probably could be, because I wanted to come to what was that Duke Atman 6187. I don't necessarily disagree with you, Duke Atman. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I will say this, and this is all I'll say. That traditionally, when people use the term rockabilly, they're also talking about bluegrass. So I think that so I'm with you that technically rockabilly is basically boogie woogie, but for terms of the conversation, if you're talking about traditional, what people mean when they say the term rockabilly, they are also talking about bluegrass and the merging or using as bluegrass as part of a traditional rock and roll kind of thing. And so bluegrass, that's, so when you're talking about what rockabilly is, there's a kind of bluegrass twangy thing that boogie woogie wouldn't have. So there's the twang that boogie woogie and traditional rock and roll by Black people didn't hang, if that makes sense. I'm not saying you are wrong. I'm just talking about what people mean when they say the term rockabilly. I just want to be clear about that.
Scott said, "Don't shout him out," but I didn't know what he said. So now that I've seen the comment, man, come on.
That's saying he started it.
Yeah, Scott, stop rage baiting us.
But I respect that. I don't. Yeah, but I respect that. I mean, I respect that. I mean, Do You Lie is a really unusual inclusion in in his catalog. And there was risk that is just, it wouldn't work. I mean, honestly, in the same vein that I'm talking about, how the the rockabilly, boogie woogie, bluegrass didn't work for me, which I love the fact, because I would have never associated bluegrass with boogie woogie, much less rockabilly. So right. The fact that the audience is like really here for this and like knows what the hell they're talking about is really helping me, personally aligning these things together.
Well, the great thing about, we talked about what he would do and what he wouldn't put out. The great thing about Prince, what he did do, is that he never shied away from no style. Because the Parade album, with none of them songs, the way it starts, a normal artist would never start the album with Christopher Tracy's Parade, the way that sounds, and then goes into this. And so it was already genre busting, expectation shattering. That's what we loved about him too. Like, yeah, that's why he gave us Kiss. Because if nothing else, y'all gonna love this. And you're even calling this somewhat of a risk, but this is just, it don't get no more grits than that. Like, so if nothing else works, Kiss always works. And if y'all struggle with the rest of the album, so be it. I'm on my art stuff. But I mean, that's Prince, man. That was always his MO. So we got to move on, fellas, because we can do a whole show on what he did.
Do you lie?
Yeah. Okay, so I know we gotta move on. I'm not disagreeing with you, dude. But when white guys try to do Little Richard, it's called rock and roll. Like, it's when white guys try to do Little Richard, it's called rock and roll. It's bluegrass when it has it's rockabilly when it has an actual Hank Williams influence. So you have to understand that Elvis wasn't just listening to blues artists. Elvis was also listening to bluegrass and country people. And so what Elvis did with the two songs, Blue Moon of Kentucky and That's All Right Mama. That's All Right Mama was a blues song. Blue Moon of Kentucky was a bluegrass song. So it's not what's the word I want to use? It was planned that they put That's All Right Mama as the A side and Blue Moon of Kentucky was the B side. Why? Because again, That's All Right Mama was a blues song that Elvis took, and Blue Moon of Kentucky was a bluegrass song. So Elvis took his bluegrass back roots, took his gospel and took his blues and put all that together. And that's where you get the whole rockabilly coming in. But when white guys was just simply imitating Little Richard, that was rock and roll. That was the Rolling Stones. That was the Beatles. That was later Led Zeppelin. Bluegrass is not just black guys impersonating Little Richard. Bluegrass is people bringing their Hank Williams country roots into and merging with Little Richard. I'll shut up.
All right. And so we're at 35 studio sessions total so far. 15 new songs. Of course, some of those tracks listed here. I can see the Flesh tracks. We see tracks that make up Sign of the Times, some Crystal Ball, some unreleased stuff. And you would go wrong no way. I'm just making up phrases. If you start listening to any of these songs listed here, incredible work. All right, we're shifting into Purple World. First up, Another Lover, Hole in Your Head. This is a music video fan edit by the great Edgar Cruz. Am I saying this last name right? And I've seen this video, and it's actually really good. You should definitely go check it out. He's using footage from the movie, but it would have been like, man, this would have been a cool version of a music video as well. So definitely check that out. I love stuff like this. You know what's just had jumped in my head when we were talking about his studio, and they mentioned like the sun coming through, how the sun shines into the control booth. Man, as much as I feel about AI and stuff, if it ever gets to the point where AI and you can do it in VR, and they was like to make these environments, I would be awesome to just be able to kind of go into the studio, if they recreated that house, that studio downstairs, and just be able to just kind of see the virtual sun shining down, and then the music coming out. But anyway, I'm geeking out. 20th anniversary of 3121. It's a live Q&A with Ruth. This is to benefit Addie. Looks like it's literally 3/21/26. So that's what, next week? Facebook Live, 4 p.m. I can't read the small writing there at the bottom, but interested to see what this is all about for sure. And once again, if you can help out Addie get back on her feet, doing her GoFundMe, absolutely. And then we got the Dance on Prince Conference, June 1st and 2nd in Minneapolis, hosted by the International Center for Prince Studies. So we're excited about that. The Cultural, Sonic, and Symbolic Legacy of Prince, an academic and fan conference. All right. Okay. Man, love it. Ooh. This is so many great stuff. 40th anniversary film screening of Under the Cherry Moon, hosted by the man himself, Tricky Jerome Benton, moderated by our brother, Dr. Funkenberry. And it says music selects by DJ C minus. This is Friday, April 17th at the Regent. I believe that is in the LA area. But wow, go see the movie with Jerome, Dr. Funkenberry. That's going to be awesome. I love that. Love that. And then the man, the myth, the legend, Law and the Planet 12 movement. You know, they got that show coming up Friday, April 17th at the Cutting Room in NYC. It's going to be a part of happening during the symposium. So definitely go get your tickets. Show starts at 9 p.m. And listen, I've seen Law live before in New York, man. Fascinating performance. That brother puts 115, 120% of energy on the stage. Live musicians, live singing. Love it. And then, of course, I Wonder You 40, celebrating 40 years of Prince's Parade and Under the Cherry Moon, April 17th through 19th, 2026. It's a mixture of virtual and in person. I know this is going to be fantastic. If you go by the other ones, and this is about the Under the Cherry Moon. And the Sealy, you're going to be there
Yes.
doing panel for sure.
Yes.
So yeah, this is fantastic. Register if you haven't already. We're excited.
Aren't we live commentating the movie on Sunday?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the three of us, I think, are doing the movie.
Oh, okay.
When's the last time you seen the movie? I haven't seen the movie in like maybe 15 years minimum. At
Really?
least. Yeah. I'm thinking about just going in there blind.
Well, I've seen it many.
That'd be funny. Yeah, that'd be funny because I see it at least once a year and sometimes twice a year.
I watched it. Sure, I'll put it on. I don't watch the whole thing.
Right.
But I think the last time I went to actually go see it was when Paisley Park did their showing. It was a couple of years ago.
I will say this: if you counted up the last 10 years, I definitely have seen Under the Cherry Moon and Sign of the Times more than I've seen Purple Rain.
Oh.
Like I've watched them, and I still love the movie Purple Rain, but I was just sitting and thinking about it. But I think I watch each of them at least once a year. But I probably quote and think about Under the Cherry Moon just for whatever, because there's so much funny stuff from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. And then here's more information. The symposium website is pre-register. Once again, April 17th, virtual is a Friday, Zoom events, YouTube for the keynotes. And then April 18th, 19th, Saturday and Sunday is going to be in person at the usual location there. Ooh, also the Prince Celebration 2026, June 3rd through the 7th. Early bird tickets now available. So this 10-year anniversary celebration of life. It's interesting. They got that parade period. Parade is heavy. You see the theme, but I'm sure this is where they're going to announce the release date of the purple the parade special edition. I'm sure. Like, you know, it's how ludicrous it would be if they did. All right. Then we got here. Sad to share the news that my good friend Rich has tragically and suddenly lost his wife. Oh man, I'm sorry. Sarah Ann. It says, please help donate to cover the funeral expenses. Anything can help. Please share and help spread the word. Support for Don Marie Benson's family. Man, our hearts and prayers go out to Sarah. Tragic loss of your husband. So definitely, if you can donate, please plug into that. And also my guy, Troy. Man, kind of. That's my dude, man. But he's still going through his battle with cancer. Definitely any support and love be appreciated. Shout out to Troy. Dr. Funkenberry as well, man. The cancer battle continues. We're going to hold these brothers down. Stay strong. We're still thinking about you. Of course, Des Dickerson. It says, let's rally again for Prince guitarist Des Dickerson. All right. Keep you in our prayers. And then,
Brother Dean,
yes.
Prop Duff says it was Rich Benson's wife who passed.
Oh, my bad. I am so
Rich
sorry.
Benson's wife who passed.
I read that right. Didn't read it. My apologies, man. All right. Playlist. Once again, we got that Another Lover Hole in Your Head video up there. Definitely check that out. Visions, Ballad of Dorothy Parker, both versions. And then there's 2 versions of Witness for the Prosecution. So you can go reference those yourself and check them out. And then, of course, we don't know. You know what's interesting about Ricky, man? Like, I don't know if you guys do. Every time I go onto Facebook, I see Ricky's face. And it is from his family members because they've changed their picture to have him in it. And I guess it knows that I knew him, so it's trying to recommend them to me. So I always see Ricky. He's always there, man. Yeah. Salute to Ricky, man. Yeah, absolute. That's our brother, man.
Yes.
Absolute. And yo, we did it, fellas. Change the view here. Thank you guys so much. Before we get out of here, salute to D'Angela. She's in the chat. Thank you for allowing me to come on with the fellas and hold it down this week. Celie, you got anything for us before we get out of here?
Yes, 2 last things I want to say. One is, and if you know, Prof Duff, I'm gonna put it this way: I'm giving a lot of love to Alabama A&M. You know, as a Jackson State Tiger, it is hard for me to give love to Alabama A&M, but you tell my Alabama A&M best friend that we love her and we want to send that love out. So tell her this Jackson State Tiger is sending out love to that Alabama A&M Bulldog. I want to send out that love there, and then I'm gonna close Brother Dean and Brother Turnbull by being petty. The song Blue Moon of Kentucky, which was the B-side on Elvis Presley's first single, was originally written and performed by Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys. Now, I don't know what else I need to say about bluegrass and rockabilly. Elvis is doing a song by a guy, Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys. That's it. But much love to Duke and much love to everybody in the chat. That's why we say we chat, we banter. Nobody takes it personally. It's all love. And the great thing about it is that we love y'all in the chat. I'm finna steal Brother Turnbull. The chat is his own stock. So we love y'all in the chat, and we want y'all to keep coming back, keep talking to us, keep correcting us, because trust me, it'd be funny what y'all put in the chat. I love it. So I don't want y'all to think that any of us be getting perturbed or get upset. We love the chat. That's it. I'll shut up.
And Arthur, you got anything for us?
Well, I do want to say thank you. Thank you very much for letting me in. I watch every week silently, and today I saw the banner, and it was literally we talking about Dorothy. Like Dorothy Parker is like the place card, and I'm like, oh my god! I jump on the phone like, yo, can I get in? right. Talk about this song. So I do appreciate it. I appreciate all the comments in the chat. I appreciate you hipping me to a lot of things that I wasn't completely clear on. So it keeps me sharp, and I really do I really do appreciate being a part of this group. So thank you. See you in New York.
Yes.
All right. And once again, we appreciate everybody in the audience holding us down. Again, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Listen to some more Prince, you know, pull out an album or something and just sit back, take a break from everything. Let me dive into what this man, let me bask into some artistry for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need a good just sort of break from stuff, and pull out a record that you don't normally listen to, you know. Might hit you a little different. But with that said, we appreciate everybody. We're out of here. We'll see you next time. Yo, work like a job. Have a good weekend. Peace.